Yeah, everyone, welcome again in the session related to the mobile phone security forensics. And in the today's sessions, I'm going to discuss on the Android phone forensics or the Android application forensics. I'm Dr. Divij Singh Rathod, Associate Professor and the Associate Dean, School of Cybersecurity and Digital Forensics, National Forensic Sciences University. And it is already have the status of institutions of national importance. Now, as an investigator, suppose if you find any mobile phone, or suppose if you create the image of any mobile phone, and after creating the image of the mobile phone, suppose if you extract the evidences from the mobile phone, it is very important for the investigator or the digital forensics analyst to understand the partitions layout of the Android phone as well as the Android file hierarchy. The reason is somebody says that I want to take the image of those partitions which keeps a data or the evidences related to the Android application. If somebody says that I want to take the image of those partitions which keeps the data related to the system partitions. So if you want, either you can create the image of a zero partitions which includes the all the which includes all the partitions, or if you want, instead of taking the image of the zero partitions, you can also take the image of the individual partition. So it is very important to understand that how many partitions are there, and each partitions that will store the data related to what files and folder. The second thing is the file Android file hierarchy. So once the analysis examination and the analysis software that will suppose do the complete the processing, and it will put the folder structure in front of you. So you should know that what kind of folder structures are available, what are the Android file hierarchy are available, and which files and folder store which kind of evidences. So it is very important for the digital forensics analyst to understand the Android partitions layout, and those Android partitions layout that will symbolically linked with what kind of files and folder structure. And the second one is you should know the complete Android file hierarchy. Okay, so let's see. Before we'll talk about the Android partition layout, you should understand one thing, that the partition layout that varies between the vendor and the versions. So in suppose if you take the MI mobile phone and if you connect with your laptop and if you root the mobile phone and if you see the partitions, you may find the 9 partitions with the different partition name. If you take some other mobile phone and if you connect with the laptop and if you're trying to see the partitions, you may have a different number of partitions along with the name. So the number of the partitions along with the name of the partitions, that would be vary from vendor to vendor and even for the different version of a same vendor also. The second thing is, but however, there are the few partitions that are present in all the Android device. Even though today what we are going to do is we are going to access the partition of our Genymotion emulator. Is it so? I also when we do the practicals, we'll also come to know that some of the partitions which I am going to discuss today in the presentations may not available in the Genymotion also. So don't try to find the exact match. Suppose if I'll show you the 9 partitions with the name of SDA, SDA0, SDA1, SDA2, don't try to find the same number of partitions with the same partitions name in other mobile phones, because it's vary between the vendor and the versions. Okay, so we'll talk about the few of the important partitions. The first partitions which you can expect in which would be the common in most of the Android phones is called the bootloader. Now we already discussed the bootloader in length in the boot process also, and while we have discussed about the different fast boot mode and the recovery mode and the custom recovery mode also. But even though this is the partitions that store the phone's bootloader program, and we know that if somebody wants to flash the memory, somebody wants to install the custom ROM, somebody wants to install the custom recovery environment, then first you need to unlock the bootloader, because these partitions store the informations related to the bootloader program. The second one is this program takes care of initializing the low level hardware when the phone boots. The third thing is, thus it is responsible for booting the Android kernel, and booting into those boot modes such as a recovery mode, download mode, I would say the fast boot mode. These are the modes that would be available only because of this partition. So I would say that this partition is responsible for initializing the low level hardware. They are also responsible for loading the Android phone into the Android I would say and the Android ROM. They are also responsible for initializing or enabling the different modes like a fast boot mode, recovery mode, okay, or some other modes like a download mode also. So this is what the first partitions which you can expect in any of the Android phone. The second I would say the important partition is called a boot. Now the word itself tell you that this is the partitions which keeps the informations related to the files, configurations file that required to boot the phone. So all required files related to booting the Android phone, that you can find it inside this slash boot partition. The second thing is it also contains the kernel and the RAM disk. So without these partitions, the phone cannot start its process, because the boot itself will tell you that all the booting related configuration files and also the information related to the kernel and the RAM disk, that is available inside the boot partitions. So without the partitions, your mobile phone or any of the processes that cannot start. The next partitions, that is called a recovery partition. I would say it is a tiny file available inside the Android OS, and it comes with the Android OS also, and that's why we normally say that this is a default partition. So the recovery partitions allows a device to boot into the recovery console, through which the activities such as a phone update and other maintenance operations are performed. Even if you reset your mobile phone, or if you update your OS, or if you update any of the packages inside the OS, then your mobile phone will move into the recovery mode. The second part is, for this purpose the minimum Android boot image is stored. So that is what I would say a recovery partition. There is one more partition is called user data partition. I would say this is potentially the useful partitions, that is called a data partition, and this is ultimately a device internal storage of the application. So either it is if you install any of the application, that is called as a user install applications, all the data related to the user install applications, that you can find it inside the slash data partition. Okay, the second thing is a bulk of users data is stored here, and this is where the most of our forensic evidence will reside. It stores all application data and standard communication as well. So I would say the data partitions slash data partitions, which is very important partition specifically forensic point of view, because all the user install applications related data and all other standard communications related files and the logs, they normally store inside the slash data partition. The next partition is called the system partitions. That's the word itself tell you that what is a system partition. That is all major components other than the kernel and RAM, because as we discussed earlier also that the kernel and RAM related configuration file, they will store inside the boot partition. So except the kernel and RAM, the rest of the major of the components, the related files, they will store inside the system partition. Now the second thing is the Android system image here contains the Android framework, libraries, system binaries and pre-installed applications, that is called system install applications. Also you can get it into the system partitions. So one thing which you need to keep in your mind that except the kernel and RAM disk, everything related to the Android framework, libraries, system binaries, pre-install application, that is called the application which comes along with your mobile phone, that you can find it into the system partition. And without the partitions, that device cannot boot into the normal mode. So that is the one more partitions. Now there is also one more partition is called cache partition, and this partition is used to store a frequently accessed data and the various other files such as a recovery log and update package downloaded over the cellular network. So this kind of even the cache also store I would say you normally expect those log files which will gives you the detail about the recently accessed data. Okay, and it also keeps the data related to the recovery logs. And if you update any packages or any packages it was downloaded through the cellular network, you can get the evidences related to those activities also inside the slash cache partition. Now the next partition is called a radio. The word itself tells you that device with the telephonic capabilities have a baseband image stored in this partition that take care of a various telephonic activity. I would say that if you really wants to know some of the Wi-Fi related activity also, that also you can find it from the radio partition. That's it. So all those communications you can find it into the radio partition. Now we will do some practicals related to these partitions. Now remember one thing, the partitions which I have discussed, either it could be a system or it could be a user data, the radio, the cache, okay, or it could be the other partitions. Do not try to find the same partitions in your mobile phones or in the Genymotion also. You may not, or you may or may not find. You can also find some other partitions and they support some other partitions that you cannot find, because we know that the Android OS is a customized operating system. So normally the companies, they do customize the OS as per their own requirement. So some of the partitions that might be, I would say, missing also. Now if you really wants to identify that partition layout, that what partitions layout do you have in your mobile phone or in the emulator, then I have given the variety of commands. The only reason to give the variety of command is when I did a practice to identify the partitions with the different commands, I realized that as the Android OS is the customizable OS, so some of the companies, they do support some of the commands, and some of the companies, they have given the some of the partitions, and some of the partitions they have removed. So what I have given is, I have tried the all the options which is available on the internet. I have listed everything. So if you really wants to identify the partition layout, then first you need to connect your mobile phone, you need to root your mobile phone, and you need to write the ADB shell. You need to enter into the shell of your Android phone. Once you enter into the Android shell, you just need to write the cat proc/partition. That's it. So this will give you the list of the partitions with their details. If you if you are able to fail to get the partitions, then you can also try that cat/proc/mount also. So this mount files, the configuration files also keep the details related that which partition is mounted where. So this is also the one more, I would say, the interesting information. The one more is, I did one mistake, that instead of the mount, I also observed that you can also try the cat/proc/mount. This is a mount. So you can also try the mount also. If suppose if you are not able to get the list of, or if you are not able to identify the partitions layout, you can also try the cat/proc/mdd. This files, configuration files, may be available in some of the phones or the emulators, and in some of, I don't find in some of the emulator or the phone also. So depends. The one more thing, once you these are the different ways, and I'll sure that if you try any of this commands, you're definitely going to get the list of the partitions which is available in your phone. Now the second thing is the file system path aliases. If you really wants to know the file system path aliases along with the size information, okay, like the total size, used, free, and the block size related to the file system path aliases, then you can try the df. So this will give you the file system list of the file systems with their other, I would say, the details that would be related to the total rough size, used, free, block size, other things also. That also you can try. Now remember one thing, the partition is also available. Like when we do the practicals, you will come to know that there are 16 partition, and on the other side we have the actual partition file. Take an example like a /data, /system, /cache. These are the actual partition file name, and the partition name could be the ASD, okay, or SDA, SDA0, SDA1, SDA2. This could be the name of the partition. And the actual partition name which you can see inside your Android phone could be the slash data, slash system, slash cache, is it slash recovery. Now the biggest questions comes is like somebody says that, sir, slash data partition is mapped with which partition? Will it be mapped with the SDA0, SDA1, SDA2, SDA3 or SDA4? Or suppose a slash system is mapped with which partition? So if you really wants to get the answer of these questions, for that I have also tried some trial and error, and I try to put all those different commands in front of you, and if you definitely try this command, you will come to know that which actual partition file or what is the path of the actual partition file, in the sense that the slash data partition, slash system partitions is mapped with which partition, is it at a memory level. So to get the mapping between the partition aliases and the path of the actual partition, the partition aliases could be, I would say that could be a SDA, SDA0, SDA1, SDA2, SDA3, and the path of the actual partition file is, I would say that could be a slash data, slash system, slash cache. So if you really wants to know this informations, you can try the different options. The first option which I have tried and I failed also, that is you can try the ls-al slash dev slash block slash platform slash, is it msm underscore sdcc.1 slash by name. So by name is a configuration file which keeps the details related to the mapping of the partition aliases along with the path of the actual partition file. Suppose if you fail, you can also try cat slash proc slash emmc. This is also the one more configuration file. If you also fail, you can also try the cat slash proc slash the dumpchar underscore info. Suppose if you still fail, then you can also try the cat slash dev slash block slash platform slash dw underscore mmc. If you suppose still fail, then you can also try that the ls-l, and here what we are going to do is we are trying to list out all those possible paths with the slash dev slash block dash name by name. Okay, and this will cover all the possible path, which of course varies for other devices also. So you can also try this option. If suppose still if you are failed, you can also use a Busybox, like a Busybox fdisk, and you can just provide the various fdisk options like, you know, I can write that Busybox fdisk dash l slash dev slash block slash SDA, SDA0, SDA1, SDA2. I can write the partition name. Now remember one thing, this is the Busybox that you can find it either inside the slash dev or inside the slash proc directory. And remember one thing, Busybox is nothing but it is a software suite that provides a several Unix utility in the single executable file. So they will provide the varieties of commands that this Busybox they normally provides, I would say. So now we'll try with the practicals, and we'll try all those options and try to find the answer of those questions. So let me move into my, I would say, in the Santoku. Let me log in into the Santoku. So I have logged in. I already started one Genymotion, I would say, instance, and its IP address is 192.168.136.101. So I need to remember the 136.101. Now let me check that my Santoku is connected with the ADB, or I would say or not. Okay, that I have to check. So I would say that ADB devices, sorry, spelling mistake, devices. Oh, it shows the device that is called 136.192.168.136.101, and it means that this is the IP address of my Santoku emulator. So I don't think I don't need to worry about it, because now it is my ADB is got connected with my devices. I'll go to write a clear. Now let me write shell. Okay, so now our prompt is got changed. Now the prompt we have from the Digvijay @ Digvijay, which is a prompt of my, I would say, the Santoku. Now I moved into the shell of my Android phone, that is called root@Android. Now the first job is to our first job is to identify, I would say first job is to identify the partition layout. So we'll try these different options and we'll see that what kind of output that I can get in my case. So I would say that cat, now let's see that cd proc, okay, and we are inside the, I would say, pro directory. Now let me write -al, and as you can see inside the proc directory, we'll definitely discuss this files in detail in the next session, that is called the Android file hierarchy. But if you see in the proc, you can find some interesting, I would say, files, like you can find the C group, you can also find devices, you can also find, I would say, console. This is also available inside the proc. Let me move down. You can also find the file systems, you can also find the fs. This is also the file is available in with this I would say with the proc. Now if we'll move ahead, is there any other interesting files that I can see? Yes, you can find the memory information related files here also. Then if you move ahead, yeah, you can find the mtd is also available inside the proc. Now if I'll go ahead, oh, I can find, so this is what of our interest, the partitions files is also available. So mtd is also available, that may also gives us the detail related to the partitions. If you are not able to get from here, then we can also try the partitions configurations files to get the list of the partition. Now there are also some other useful information that I can expecting from, I would say, here. So is there anything which is of our interest? I think no. So we'll do one thing, we are already inside the proc directory, so I just need to write the cat partition. Let's see that what we can have. Okay, so we have the list of the partitions which you can see on the screen. This is called the major, the minors, this is the block number, and this is the name of the partition. So in my case, the name of the partition is SDA, SDA1, SDA2. Now remember one thing, my 0 partition name is called SDA. Okay, now remember one thing, I would say that I have around 6 to 7, I think around 9 to 10 partitions. Okay, now remember one thing, now somebody says that, sir, SDA partition, SDA1 partition stores what? Does it mapped with the slash data partitions, or does it mapped with the slash cache or a slash recovery partitions? So that we have to find. Okay, but this is what you can see, that this is the partition, and I would say that this is my 0 partitions. Name of that partition is called SDA. Now suppose if you fail to find, or if you don't able to get the informations related to the partitions from the partition configurations, you can also try the mount. So I would say mounts is also available inside the proc only. So you just enter the mount, and when you enter into the mount, you can also get some interesting informations. Now the only issues with this output is it is quite mashed, so you need to keep your eyes on the some of the important informations. Like as you can see that it is called, these are the path of the partitions, that is a date slash block slash I think the SDB SPD SDB3. Okay, now you can see that this shows that the slash data partition it is mounted with the it is SDB3. The cache data partition is mounted with the SDB1, and the system partition is mounted with the SD6. Okay, so this is very important information. In this, it means that, okay, now see this I would say this SD card is mounted with the partition name is called SDC. Okay, so I would say that in my case I am able to get only a 3 partition name, that is a system, cache, data, and SD card. Now if you check our presentation, okay, and if you move to the home, we have discussed about the bootloader, boot, recovery, user data, system, cache, radio. Okay, so out of this I'm able to find only few of the partitions. Now see, this is this slash data partition is nothing but that is a user data partition. You can also find the cache partition. You can also find the system partitions. And this is nothing but ext4, that is called extended 4, that this is called extended file system version 4. So this partition is using which kind of, I would say, the file system. You can see that ext4 the SD card is using the vfat. It supports the vfat file system. So this is what the interesting informations that we have received. Now remember one thing, we already seen that this is the list of the SD6, SD1, SD3 and SDC. This partition, it is mapped with the system cache data and SD card. That also you'll get the information. Now we seen that in the partitions we have this partitions SD1, SD2, SD3. Okay, so now you can map that the actual partition that SD1 is mapped with which, is it with the map with the slash data, slash SD card, slash system or slash cache. So that information you can get it from the slash mount configuration file. Suppose if in some of the cases if you are failed to get the information, then I would say that you can also try, instead of I would say mount, or I would say you can also try cat. Suppose if you are failed to get this information, then I will say proc, I would say cat. Instead of a mounts, you can try the mount also, but in my case I think it is a mount, so it shows that no such files or the directory is available. Okay, now in case suppose if you are not able to get the information, you can also try, we are already inside the proc, is it? So that's why I'm not writing the cat slash proc slash, so I'm going to write the cat and mtd, that also you can try. But when I try the mtd, yes, the mtd configuration file is available inside the proc directory, but unfortunately it won't it won't store any information, I would say the interesting information. So these are the few things that you can try to get the list of the partitions, and you can also try to get the partition name, how it is got related with the alias or the actual partition, with the actual partition name. Now we'll back to presentation. So we have done this practicals with our Santopo and the Genymotion. Now the second thing is the file system path aliases. If you really wants to know, you just need to write, you can use a df. So let me clear this one, let me write a df. Now see, this is what I think I can see. How many partitions? I think we have a slash dev also, slash system, I would say C group also, ASC also, OD also. Okay, these four things are very important. That is in my Genymotions I can find the four important file system is called slash system, slash cache, slash data and slash SD card. So if you really wants to, if you wants to get the information related to the list, the file system path aliases and size information, so for that you can try, you can get this size informations used free, and the BLK size, that also you can get it using the df option. Now we'll back to our presentations and we'll see that what was our next practical. So this is related to the mapping between the partition aliases and the path of the actual partition file. Okay, so we'll try the options which I have listed here, and we'll see that do we get the answer of those questions or not. So let me come out from the proc. The first options that I can try is called ls-al, and you can say, now before ls-al, let me do one thing, let me move into the dev partition. Okay, we are already inside the dev directory, and let me write del al. Okay, so see, this is a dev is also we will discuss in the next sessions that what this directory is, but you can see that this directory stores some of the important informations which let me discuss, let me show you. That is, first one is the block. This is the very important, because if you check your if you see the partitions detail which we have discussed earlier also, like this is the partition detail, you can see that the blocks, the actual partitions like the SDA6, SDA1, is it, or SDB1 or the SDB3 or the SDC, they all are available inside the slash text or slash div slash block slash a block a directory. So you can find that directory here. As you can see, I think it is here only. The block is also of our interest. Now if we'll go ahead, is there anything which is of our interest? Is, I think that is what the enough for us. So let me move into the slash I would say block, and let's see that what do we have inside it. So now let's see, as you can see that you can find the details related to the different partitions. Now if somebody says, sir, can we, if we write, suppose if we write cat SDA, what we'll get? You don't get any, I would say, fruitful informations. That is because that represents the partition. It is a symbolic link connected with your partition. Okay. Oh, I moved into the endless loop. Control Z, X and C is not working, so I just need to close my prompt. I just closed my prompt, and I have started the prompt. Shell. Okay, so what we are trying to discuss is, we are trying to discuss, okay, check we are in the devs block and ls, or I would say ls-al. So here you can find the different partitions. As you can see, these are the list of the partitions. Okay, and let's see that. Let me clear the prompt. Let me come out from this. Okay, now our next agenda is to try this thing, mapping between the partition aliases and the path of the actual partition file. So let's see, we'll try this one. I can say we are trying to say ls-la, and we know that there is a dev partitions, we have a block also, and inside the block we have the platform slash MSM. This is also the configurations files, and I can try the SDCC dot one, or it's dot slash by underscore name. I think it won't work in my case, I think, because there is no such files. The only reason is, as you can see, that the path that will be moved from dev to block and block to platform. So we'll check that do we have the platform directories available in our case or not. So I would say dev cd block cd platform. Do we have? No, we do. I don't have it. It won't show anything. So there is nothing like a platform directory in my case. So as I told you earlier also, that the partition structures or the directory structures which I'm going to discuss, you may or may not find in your mobile phone. Like in my case, I'm not able to find the platform directory inside the block. I think when I tried with my actual Android phone, yes, you definitely find this directory. And if you find this directory, you can use the by underscore name options to, to find the informations related to the mapping between the partition aliases and the path of the actual partition file. So if you fail, you can also try second option which I have listed, that you can try the slash proc slash, I would say, let me check that. I'm trying to find something like EMMC. I don't have the EMMC. Yes, I don't have it, so I don't think that will work. Okay, that is called the EMMC. I don't think that, because I don't have such files in my inside the slash proc directory. I don't have it. I have the MNT, but I don't have the other details inside it. Okay, we'll try the cdmnt and let's see that what will happen. Okay, inside the mnt what we can find is LAL inside the mnt, which is a part of your I would say a /proc directories. I can find it the system root system. Okay, I can find, okay, the mnt directory is normally stored related to the USB, SD card and shared and other directory also. Okay, this is not our agenda. Our agenda is to, okay, so we can do one thing. We can try the third option, that is called a cat /proc, and that is called a dumpcar. I found this option in my phone, that is a dumpcar info. I don't have such file, but I think in the real Android phone you can find this files, and this files contains the mapping between the partition aliases and the path of the actual partition file. Okay, let me try one more options if we can. Let's see that. Okay, let me try this. I would say the cat and /dev/block/ okay, it is related to the platform only. I don't have the option of the platform, so there is no use of trying this option. This will be available in the real phone. Okay, I'm not able to find no such files or the directories exist. Okay, so that you can try with your phone also. You may get the success. Now I would say clear. Now let me try one more option which I have listed in the slides, that is called, let me try the ls-l, and in the $sign we are trying to pass, you know, the find command, and we are trying to find in the dev/block, and we are trying to search with a name, and name could be like by name, and let's see. So this this is doing nothing but, you know, it is trying to find in the /dev/block directory, and the name could be a by name. So we're trying to find this option. Let's see that to be what we get is, oh, I can get I'm able to get the answer of this question, but unfortunately what output I have received have no use. He has listed everything, is it? Even though he has listed everything, so that is also, this command is also won't help me to find the mapping. Okay, let's see, we'll try one more options. You can try the Busybox and fdisk. Okay, and with the Busybox and fdisk -l option, and here what you need to do is you need to provide the name of the block. So I think we have the block inside the dev/block/ I would say SDA. Oh, I've got a success. Yeah, I received a success. So as you can see that you can find here the details. See, I'm able to get the success to find the mapping or not? Let me check carefully. The output is not okay. The only things which I am able to get is, I am able to get only the partition names, but I am not able to get the mapping. Okay, let's see that. We'll try to find this one is, oh no, I'm not able to get. Okay, so I'm again failed that this will just give me the list of the partitions only. The partition 3, partition 2, partition 4. Okay, but yes, we already got a success. If you check my just 10 minutes before discussions, that how do we get the list of the partitions, then we'll say that cat proc the partitions we have entered, so we got a list of the partitions. And if you write cat proc mounts, and here we can easily find the list of the partitions that where it is mapped. This could be the answer of my question, and this will shows that the system is mapped with the SDA6 SDB1 is mapped with the cache, SDB3 is mapped with the data, and SDC mapped with the /MNT/SD card. But I have shown the different other options. Is it because that you can try in the case suppose the mount and the partitions options won't work. That is the only purpose to have this exercise. Okay, so let's see that. So we did the practicals related to all those things. Now if somebody says that, sir, why you are discussing all those things, but remember one thing, the only purpose of discussion about the partitions is, let me take an example, like suppose if I write partition. Now this mount, I would say the mount option shows that the data partition is mapped with the SPD3, and we know that the SPD partition is also there, is also available here, SPD3. Okay, now if somebody says that, sir, I want to take the image of this partition only, because we know that the slash data partition stores the important information regarding the user install applications and the other informations also. So instead of taking the image of the entire partition, 0 partitions, if you want, you can take the image of the specific partition also, and you can do the forensics, and this will be definitely help in the research. Is it, if somebody says that I want to know the impact of any action or any activity, let it be a routing activity, that the routing, if you route any of the phone, will it be have the impact on the integrity of the evidences? Then you will say that, okay, I will focus on, or my research will be focused on, to find the integrity issues related to the WhatsApp messages. Take an example. Now we know that the WhatsApp messages, they are the user install application, and the evidences related to the WhatsApp applications, that you can find it from where? You know that you can find into the slash data partition, and that partitions is available inside the SDB3 partition. So instead of taking the image of all the partitions, you can focus your study on the specific partition only. Okay, and you can try one or more practicals in a different way. You can try to root the mobile phone and just take the image of these partitions, extract the evidences, and you can use any of the hash algorithms to calculate the hash value of it. And if you want, you can do a thorough study, and you will come up with the research that does the routing process, or what kind of routing process or which routing techniques impact that will change the integrity of the evidences. That's the only reasons that why I am discussing these things in detail. Now somebody says that, sir, I want to focus only on the SD card related partitions. Then you can go ahead, you have the SDC partitions is available, and as you can see that you have the SDC partitions is available here only. Is it? Now remember one thing, the name of the partitions like the SDA, SDA1, SDA2, SDA3, that would be vary from the mobile phone to mobile phone. So don't try to find the same name if you do any practicals. Okay, so we'll go ahead with our other practicals. Okay, so I would do one thing. I think this is what the enough for the today practicals. In the next sessions, we are going to discuss about the Android file hierarchy, and we also try to do the practicals related to the Android file hierarchy. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We'll meet in the next session. Till then, bye.